Welcome to my first vegetable garden. Today's the second episode in starting seeds indoors on a budget. First episode was about the lights, and you can see that the lighting system is working really well. Those are peppers back there. I have all kinds of seed starts germinated and growing, and I'll be talking more about the whole process if you want to follow me for this series. Today I want to just talk about the flats and cells, or the containers that you're going to be growing in. First thing that you need is a basic flat. This is called a flat. Sell these at my seed shop. And the cells, the little containers right over there, fit right into a flat. We fill this full of water. We bottom water that way. I'll be talking about that in a future video. Or you can get foil trays at the dollar store, repurpose, reuse them. You just need some sort of container for your flats, your cells to go in so that you can water from the bottom. The basic cells, the inserts, look like this. I sell these again, all of them at my seed shop. This is the basic 6 cells, and you can get 72 spaces into that black flat that I showed you with these. You can get bigger cells. The larger the cell, the less often you have to water, and the less often you have to pot the plant up. And depending on what you're growing and the timing and when it's going outside, you don't want to grow certain seeds in these small cells. You want to grow them in something larger like this. Like I like growing my tomatoes and peppers in these larger cells because I have to water them less frequently. They can get to full size, develop nice root systems, and I just don't have to move them from something smaller into something larger. You can do that if you want, but these are just different examples. 72 planting spaces into a flat when you get these small ones. I think this one might be 20... I'm sorry, this is 48 spaces in the flat, and then the larger one is 36. What I don't recommend is I don't recommend getting the peat pots. They dry out too quickly, mold grows on the sides. They tell you that when you put this outside, you can just drop in the whole pot. The roots actually do not grow out the side of this. This takes forever to decay. I just don't like them. And the main reason is they just wick the water away from your plant roots. They dry out really quickly. You can use containers like this. This is sold at the seed shop. It's a 2.5-inch container. These are great for transplants, but it's also about the same size as a half of a water bottle. So to save some money, you can just cut water bottles in half. Make sure you put holes in the bottom, and you can grow right in the water bottle container. When my friends, neighbors kind of fix up their lawn in the spring, I ask them to hold on to all the containers that they use for their plants that they're buying at nurseries, and I repurpose them. So to keep it simple when you first start, maybe you just want to go with the standard smaller cells, 72 per flat. That's a lot of space for growing different plants, and I've been doing that for years and it works. Over time, I've identified, different plants that work better in those 4 cells. There's the standard 6 cells. This is how I label them, by the way. I just put masking tape and then the date and what's growing in there. Here are some shishito peppers in the largest cell that I sell. And you can have a mixed flat. Some bigger ones, standard 6s, standard 4s. All depends on what you want to grow. But again, you can keep it simple and you can just fill a flat up like this. The third video, which will be coming out this week, is on actually making your own seed starting mix. I have my materials in there, or purchasing it, but then setting up the flats with your soil to plant. The standard seed starting flats are nice because they can be turned long ways, and then you would get 2 flats in here. That's a lot of plants. You can then also, when the plants get larger, turn them this way. They get enough light, then you have 4 flats in there, and you're really maximizing the space that you have for growing plants. When I'm germinating, I usually start up here with the lights pretty close to the seed starting mix, and then as they get larger, they'll be working their way down my shelves, and then I will be setting them just like this. Here's a close-up of some of the plants that are growing, and one trick is, instead of always raising and lowering the lights, you can just raise the lights to the height you want, and then you can use books or boxes to raise the flat. That's the other beauty of growing in these flats. You can just lift up the whole tray. Tomatoes in here for a future video. Kale, lettuce, and you can see the different 6 flats, the 4s, the larger 6s. Everything's looking pretty good in there. This one here, just FYI, that cell dried out. That's why they died. The more soil that you have in the containers, the less often you do have to water. You can also grow in Tupperware containers. There's no holes in these, so you have to be careful that you don't over soak the soil and drown your plants. But these are onions. This is a great way to grow onions. I'll be doing future videos on that. And then really in there, where we started at the beginning, you can see how nicely the peppers are doing in those large containers. And they will stay in there for 10 weeks or 12 weeks. These are the basic supplies that you need to grow plants. And again, you can buy these whole kits anywhere really, or you can get foil trays, cut up some water bottles, yogurt cups, poke holes in the bottom, and you can just set them up in there. The next step is going to be filling everything with the seed starting mix, getting that set up right, and then planting the seeds. And I'll be going over in this series how to plant the seeds. We'll do cool weather crops first, we'll do herbs and flowers, we'll do the warm crops like tomatoes and peppers. This is going to be a series for the next 3 months. Thanks so much for watching. Hope this gives you some idea of the supplies you need. And you know, you think about how many plants are you going to put into the garden. If you only need, 24 plants, you can go with these bigger cells, plant up what you want. You have to water them less. They grow nice root systems. They can go right out into the garden. If you need more, maybe you want the smaller cells. Really depends on what you're growing. You don't have to overdo it. And I recommend starting small, maybe with a flat or two, 1 or 2 grow lights, see how you like it, and as you get better and you learn, you can expand your grow light station. Thanks so much for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and please subscribe. I'll be doing a whole series on starting seeds indoors on a budget.